this isn't the beat for it at all.
I know. We're just getting ready ourselves up. Are you ready?
Rising up,
Back on the streets. Did my time, took my chances. When the distance fell back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rivals. And the last known survivors, just pray in the night. Of the tiger.
Nice.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
It's episode 10?
Episode 10. Double
10.
digits.
Episode 10.
Wow. Dog years. That's 80.
Phenomenal.
That's 80.
That's old.
That's crazy.
We're old.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So,
Not
I mean,
70?
I guess to begin, my name is Thomas, the head of partner relations here at Lexington Capital Holdings. To my left, I have...
Frank Lawando, a.k.a. Grizzly, COO.
Frankie D, CEO.
Appio Fragoletti, Director of Banking Relations.
And now... Fighting. Out of the red corner, the number one flex fight series fighter in the world, to the UFC fighter, Phillip Whalen.
Don't hurt him, my
Bruce
boyfriend.
Buffer's got nothing on this guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Bruce Buffer's got nothing on this guy.
He's got the suits, though.
He does.
Really
He
got
does.
it.
Every
Yeah,
single
he's
time
got
he
the
steps out, it's a
suits.
different
Well, you
piece of
could
drip.
too. You could
could
too.
too.
You just change not. You just choose not to.
Yeah, I got to put in the work with Bruce.
It's true.
In due time, you got it.
I got
You
it.
We'll
a
put
job.
you on the
He's
map.
going to retire soon.
He's...
Yeah, he's
I don't
getting
wanna talk
getting
about
old.
it.
He's too old for this time.
I know, it
All right,
sucks.
back to Phil.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Connor got nothing on you.
Phil, introduce yourself. Talk to us about you, your life, your come up, your story.
My name is Phillip Whalen from Center H, New York. I fight out of Long Island MMA, out in West Babylon now. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast with the Lexington boys. You know, they're one of my biggest sponsors of this last fight. You know, I heard them. The energy was real. And, you know, I'm excited to keep moving forward and growing with these guys, you know. I love everything they do, everything they stand for, and, you know, I'm excited for the future. So, yeah, thank you for having me on, guys. And, yeah, I can't wait for the next one. So, let's go.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Well, I gotta start it off strong. And Remy, I hope you can get a clip of this fight in there. But you said you heard us loud and clear.
I did.
And I gotta say, I was a little nervous in the beginning of the fight.
Yeah.
My first time seeing you fight, I was a little nervous. The guy had you in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Did you hear us screaming at the top of our lungs? Like, did that? Do you think that helped turn it around?
I really heard you guys the whole time. From right before I walked in, they going woo, 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 woo at me, and then even right when the fight started, once that bell rang, yeah, honestly, even looking back at it now, I'm grateful that I was able to get the win. I'm healthy. I could fight again in a few months, but there's still a lot of things that just went on in that fight that I shouldn't have done. I should have done better. Even just putting myself in that position to be fighting out of that guillotine. But that's what it's about. And I was excited. I wanted to grapple, so that's why I feel like the way I shot in, that's what put me in that position. But, I feel like just sometimes putting yourself in those positions in training, makes you a little more calm and collected. And, yeah, I was able to work out, and I was able to get to the spot I wanted to work at.
Hell yeah.
But I did 100%. I felt all your guys' energy screaming. And I knew once I got up and, I got him finally off my neck, I'm like, all right, it's time.
It's done.
I heard his corner even looking back in the other video. They're saying like, look, if you don't have it, don't gas out your arms. So I was just like, I was ready for it wherever the fight went, and yeah, definitely felt your guys'
Well, it was a
energy in
sick
there.
ending to say the least.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
nice.
saw you guys going crazy.
It was like 40
Man, it
seconds.
was
40
pretty
seconds,
short.
you like pin that
a
guy.
little over.
Yeah.
Choked him out.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, hearing us, to say the least, I mean, the second you walked out, we were screaming. We didn't stop screaming.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
cheering.
I know you
on.
guys.
We
You
were
guys are
cheering
rowdy,
on.
the loudest crowd in the place.
We definitely rocked that whole place.
That was
Remember
like your
the
first
announcer
time.
shouted that out at the end.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah,
knew.
he
He
did,
knew.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He had to make it known.
Yeah.
So
And I want to touch a little bit on what you were talking about, how, when you went, you're happy that you won, you're happy that you're healthy, you could fight again, but there's a lot of things that
Yeah.
you're critiquing. What exactly do you think that you should have done differently in that
So
situation?
something even just leading up to this fight, even in my first one, I guess some people will be like, oh, he's a grappler, but, I really want to, let my hands fly a little bit, throw my hands. Like I said, I'm grateful and fortunate that, I was able to get 2 wins in the first round, the last 2 fights, but I know there's going to come a point where it's like, people want to see exciting fights. It's mixed martial arts, not just grappling. So it's like, I want to show people that I have more to my skill set. It's about, just getting that cage time, especially as an amateur, and, showing what I've been working on. I do work a lot on my striking. I guess I was a little excited to, get in there, get into the exchange. And but yeah, that's one aspect I want to really be working on and show the people. But yeah, I mean, every fight I feel like there's things you could take into it. Like there's a lot of moving factors going into it, and like even the last two this year, as far as the cutting the weight, rehydrating, leading up to the fight, mentally, physically, letting your body recover. But
weighing in, getting your car
yeah,
towed.
yeah, 100%. So like that's why I got a great team at Long Island MMA. I could ask all these guys like what works for them. Try to add things into my routine. So then I could feel better each time. So that's what it's about now, getting all that experience leading up, because when the time comes for the next level, it doesn't really matter what you do at this stage of your career. It all resets. Yeah. So like want to stay humble and hungry. So it's like, look, each one, people a lot of the times I feel like they'll look back at your last fight, but the next one's always the most important one.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%, absolutely.
And we tell our reps that too over here. It's not about what you did today. It's not what you did yesterday, and that's what's really cool, I think, about sales. And even in your profession, if you have a bad month in sales, well, guess what? There's another month.
Yeah.
You have a bad phone call, well, guess what? There's another phone call. And you get a lot of chances, and you get a lot of practice, right?
100%.
So you could always really work on your craft. You could really perfect it, right? And it's a skill. I mean, both jobs are a skill. So
100%. And I remember we talked about it a little bit the other night, but I know you guys are all brothers, big family here, but you all feed off each other's energy. Like, if one person's like, they're on fire, you're like, I got to rise to this temperature, I got to get up, I got to step it up. I want to make this much more deals, I want to close this, I got to be making this much more cold calls. But I've been in the gym atmosphere too. I really think that's really important. Look, even if everyone's at different parts of their careers, but it's like, this guy's in the UFC, or this guy's, a pro, just, surround yourself with a bunch of dogs, and, you'll rise up to that in a way.
Yeah, dog too.
100%.
I know everyone here, like you said, you
We're
gotta be a dog.
We're dogs.
Otherwise,
You gotta be a dog. You're not gonna make it.
Otherwise, you can't be able to hang.
This
But
the dog pound. The dog
I
pound.
love that. It's like just rising to the temperature of the environment, and I love that.
I like what you said earlier about wanting to like put on more exciting fights, and
Yeah,
focusing, you
yeah.
want to let your hands fly, put on exciting fights. I remember growing up watching UFC with my father. He would always say how important it is to how this specific fighter has really exciting fights every single time he fights, whereas this other guy, who's probably a little bit better, didn't have the most exciting fights.
Yeah.
Person who put on more exciting fights made it a little bit farther, because people want to put on the exciting fights, more pay-per-view sales, more everything, but it just makes people want to be there more.
100%.
I mean, and even
Showmanship is
almost
huge.
correlates to how exciting we are in here in this office.
Yeah.
We're the most exciting people in the freaking game.
In the finance industry, no
Alright.
doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree
Everyone's a
with
bunch
that.
of old farts. You got young Lexington Capital coming up in the ranks.
Screaming at 8:30 in the morning.
You heard that
Of
here,
course, we
everybody.
like it. The guys, every single guy comes into this office happy as hell, ready to
Happy
be
as
here, ready
hell.
to spit fire.
Happy as hell.
But it makes our clients happy too. Getting on the phone with somebody who not only knows what
It's
they're
the
talking
transfer
about.
of energy.
Yeah, I was
like
just
if
about
you're
to say.
around a bunch of dogs, you're gonna be a dog. Like in the gym, if you're testing your partner every single day and you guys are challenging each other, it's the same thing we do. I mean, we talk a bunch of shit to each other all day long, but it's like a brotherhood. You know what I mean? Like you don't want your brother to ever beat you, right? Like I don't have a brother, but all I know is if I had one, I would compete against that mother effer every day of my life. I would not let my brother be better than me at anything.
I have a brother, and I hope he's watching this because I won.
Yes, you
I
did.
love that. It's true.
Can you tell us the story, or tell the people the story of your weigh-in?
Oh yeah. So this last fight,
Was actual weigh-ins, or when he was weighing
Yeah,
in?
when he had to go and weigh in. Hold on. Just hold on. Oh, you
So-
didn't hear this story?
No.
I still, honestly, I was like, after it happened, leading up to it, like I said, even just this past year alone, there's a lot of moving parts. So I was like, all right, I really had to work on and make some improvements into, leading up to the fight. I feel like, in a lot of ways, you could have the best training camp, be doing everything right, but there's that 24, 30 hours after weighing in until the fight that, you could put yourself in a bad position, lose it. But, so anyway, after weighing in this time, it was in Deer Park, right near the Long Island Railroad. And I felt everything was going good. I got in and out. I weighed in. I did my doctor checks. I did 2 interviews. And then, I get out, and there was no parking originally in the spot at the venue. So I parked next door in a 7-Eleven, and I come out, my car is gone. I was like, I actually ran into the 7-Eleven. I'm like, yo, I'm like, where's my car? And the guy just kind of like shoot me. He's like, oh, sign. And I go outside. All it says is there's camera surveillance. But anyway, One of my team, I go back in there. He points to another sign. It just said like, there's a tow yard number. I was fortunate. One of my teammates was there that was fighting for a title that same night as me. Tyler Coggs, shout out Tyler. But him and his girlfriend actually gave me a ride to go pick up my car, and the lady on the phone's like, "Oh, it's not too far from where you are, but it would have took me an hour to get there."
You were walking?
And even after weighing in, being all dehydrated in the freezing cold, that I'm just glad I didn't have to do that.
Oh my
but
God. That's
Damn.
like on your Rocky Balboa show, man. Like,
all I said,
holy
it
jeez, man.
added to the story. I was really, I was
Well,
pissed
that,
at
You didn't get
that's what
the worst
don't know
part
about.
yet.
Like when you see the fighters out there, like they have normal lives too. So it's like you don't know what could have went on. He could have been fighting with his wife, or could have got his car like jacked, and stolen, or like.
But
whatever,
even leaving out, I remember telling Tom, like, whatever, I paid $250. I finally get my car back. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to focus on, the task at hand. I have a flat tire, and I told the guy, I'm like, I did not have a flat tire when my car was here. And he's like, put some air in it. So, I put some air in it. Next thing you know, it's deflated. I got home. I had I did a pre-fight checkup with one of my physical therapy doctors, and and then I had the tire replaced, right after the fight, and they said someone ice picked it. So,
Wow.
like we said, like, even looking back at it now, I was like, you know what, I was upset, but I'm like, I had to focus on my hands.
That's probably your competitors trying to get at you.
They saw you parked there. They're like, it's my time.
And they lost. And they lost. So.
But that's why, don't get me wrong. At first I was like, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. But at the same time, I'm like, look, use that energy, put it towards the fight, use that aggression, try to channel it, and, it's over. There's nothing I could have did. I got my car back. I had to focus on what was at hand, but it did catch me off guard. So
That's going to be another sick story when you're on episode 2000, fucking UFC champion.
Yeah,
The double champ.
Literally. Like, Dana, like, got my car jacked first fight.
Got ice picked and towed at the same time. Whatever.
Nah, I drive a Ferrari.
So Phil, with grappling, like what's your background in that? Are you jiu-jitsu or?
So I train a big part of my background, I'd say, is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Right now at this point, I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu blue belt under my coach Brian Michelino. I got into jiu-jitsu because I knew I wanted to fight for a while, and then once I put myself in the environment and the gym where I knew that these people could get me to where I wanted to be. I know you have to start. There's a lot of places, whether you're into striking, jiu-jitsu, grappling, and I just something about jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I loved it. I love training. It's an art that you never really would know it all, and I feel like that translates over to well to life. Like you'll never know it all. There's always gonna be more to learn. There's a saying I always tell myself, it's like you don't know what you don't know. But I feel like jiu-jitsu like really worked at that. But I've been training now for over 3 years jiu-jitsu. Fortunate, I help with the kids program at my school, and just being able to be a small part of these kids' journeys and try to teach some complex stuff to them and try to make it in a basic manner. It's helped my game a lot. So I'd say jiu-jitsu is a huge part of my game, but I'm excited to show to everyone I've been working on other stuff.
Nice.
But
Get the striking.
Out of curiosity,
Yeah,
working with the kids and like teaching them fundamentals, does that like instill the fundamentals back in your brain, like something you can't forget? Because when you're learning more intricate things, you start to lack on the roots of actually fighting.
Yeah. 100%, and that really is one of the biggest things I try to take away from every time I'm working with them or in a class. Sometimes there's the smallest detail that I'm like, I could add that to my game, or I forget about that detail. Whether it's something like, that could be like this finishing detail in a choke or something. Whether it could be something like, just explaining to them, like it really reiterates to yourself. You're like, all right, this is what I need to do. Makes you really think. But it's helped my game, and it's helped me become a better mixed martial artist, definitely.
It's all about muscle memory. And teaching those fundamentals, making it second nature again and again and again and again. Repetition is key.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't think when you're in that octagon.
There's a saying, they say like drillers make killers. So I try my best to just keep drilling and still it. Like Appio said, muscle memory. Getting your body used to doing those movements and being put in those positions. But it's about, I really believe too. I'm a big advocate for just in life in general, and I guess training, systems, having systems and routines in your life that allow you to, to work on what you're trying to do, but also progress at the same time. So even now, I have some teammates that I'll work with, on a weekly, daily basis that as far as drilling certain techniques and certain moves, but it's like, now I'm trying to work on having systems down to it. So I could really, maximize the progress that I'm trying to do, keep track of what I'm doing and where I'm at. And it's helped my game.
you have a wrestling background growing up? You wrestle in high school, middle school?
I actually didn't wrestle in high school or, growing up. And that's honestly, for a while, I told myself, I'm like, I guess it kind of really motivated me because, like, look, some of the guys I train with, they're really experienced, well-seasoned wrestlers. And, a part of me for a while, I guess it was a little mentally. I was telling myself, oh, this guy wrestled, he's a state champ, or he's a, D1 wrestler, or, all the accomplishments made. Hats off to all my teammates or, even all future opponents, anyone that has those credentials. But,
Credentials don't mean shit.
It doesn't. But, I tell myself, it's like, look, it makes me want to work that much more harder. That's something in my game. It's like, look, even though I didn't do that earlier in my life, I was playing other sports, which, did teach me a lot about, like, the work ethic and things it takes to be successful. But it's like, it's definitely added a chip to my shoulder. I love the wrestling, so.
With the wrestling too, and
Stacking those up.
correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't it helps with jiu-jitsu, but it's not the best either. Because it'll help you get them in, get them to the ground, but after that that's where wrestling stops, right?
Yeah.
So then you could kind of even take over from there. So having the wrestling background is helpful, but is that correct?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you just said. Wrestling, is huge on the feet and getting to the ground where you could really work your jiu-jitsu. But even judo, having a mesh of all those things, I feel is what could make a great mixed martial artist. So yeah, I feel I always want to hone in on training wrestling and jiu-jitsu, but then again, it comes in judo's throws and stuff. So it's all right, how are you going to be able to put yourself in a position to execute those things you've been working on?
Yeah.
So
I feel it's really important to have that wrestling background if you're starting young, because let's call it what it is. If you're doing judo, you're doing karate as a toddler, it's probably because your parents don't want you to get bullied.
Yeah.
But if you're doing wrestling as a kid and growing up doing wrestling, that's because you want to try and do something with the sport. So doing wrestling growing up builds that second nature,
100%,
builds that muscle
100%.
memory in your body when you do it for 10 plus years until you get into the age where then you start getting into real jiu-jitsu, real judo, and fighting and whatnot.
It's an added
100%.
discipline.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to touch on is the numbers game. So we talk about it all the time in our industry, the numbers game. The more people you call, the higher the chance you have to get something done. The more people you talk to, the more deals, apps you get in, the more deals you can have funded. I forgot his name, but he's a renowned UFC fighter. I don't know if you remember that episode of The Champion with Wanderlei Silva, where he's trying to fight him. And he's like, I can't let you get close.
Chael Sonnen.
Yes.
The ultimate fighter. You can't let you get too close.
I can't let you get close. I think that all the time. But no, he said something one time that I really liked. He's like, while you guys are out, running with weights and throwing rocks and flipping tires, I'm fighting people. So when you get in the ring with me, you're not going to be flipping a tire. You're going to be fighting a man who fights people to train. So I like to think of that as kind of like a numbers game. The amount of fights you get into, once you get in the ring, you're going to be more experienced than buddy who's flipping tires for strength.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And like you said, it is a numbers game. Even the amount of experience you have, the reps you're putting in, the hours in the gym. Just always trying to, up that number, find ways to, improve yourself in all those ways. And even now, I'll spend a nice portion of my day and a week in the gym, but I know I could do more. I'm trying to look at my routine, be like, all right, where could I fit this in? Because I don't know. I feel I'm a big advocate also for you'll never accomplish more than I guess you accept the responsibility for, or that you expect of yourself. So I expect a lot of myself, and even though I train really hard, I have a lot of good people around me, but I'm I know I could be better. I know I can make some changes to my routine, training, just as far as working on some projects, and just be just be more productive. So yeah, it's a numbers game. In you guys' industry, you guys know it's how many more calls could you make to put yourself ahead of all the competitors, shut them out? That's going to lead to so many more deals. Just, going to so many different, marketing events or events in your field. You're going to make that many more contacts and just add to the pipeline. So
Add to the pipeline.
Add to the
Absolutely.
pipeline.
We gotta get this guy a shirt. Get him a red shirt.
Little do
You got a red
this is all,
shirt?
this is all one
Yeah,
big
get a red
interview,
shirt.
actually.
I love it. No, really,
And one big interview for you to work here.
You could start Monday, right?
You're good to go.
Dude, we'll
work
give
it out.
you
I'll
good
be here all the time.
flexibility.
I'll
here.
talk
You
to
could
John.
work
I'll
out
talk
while
to
you
John.
guys-
He'll house your shifts.
It doesn't
punching
feel like
bags.
work. It doesn't feel like work, really, with these
No, believe me,
guys.
we'll put you to work.
No, it will feel like work.
We get to it.
I
We,
know,
we
I
definitely
know.
get
I know
to
you
it.
guys do.
We
There'll be
definitely
hours
get
of grind, and then we'll just start singing a song, and then we're back.
Yeah.
Take 2 minutes, hit the punching bag.
Yeah.
You see him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll set
no,
up
it's
a
true.
gym for you.
It's
I
true.
love that.
Yeah.
I definitely like the schedule thing too, because that's a big thing that Frankie's been trying to instill in a lot of us is have a routine. Have a routine, stay strict with it, and always try an improvement, which is like kind of what you were saying. How can I implement this into my routine to, excel myself rather than just be comfortable with what you're used to now rather than pushing yourself.
Yeah. And I remember, a while back I heard this, someone say it's like if you don't have a routine, you'll have one made for you. But, yeah, like Tom just, touched on, like, for a lot of the days, people might say, oh, it's a little obsessive, but, like, there's no reason why you should not know what you're doing, not only every hour, like, you need to allocate your time, how you want to spend it.
It's good
like
if people are saying you're obsessed, man.
It's
That's when
good.
like, you ever watch that David Goggins,
Yeah.
that David Goggins clip when he's like, you reached a level of like success when people are coming up to you like, wow, you're obsessed with what you do. Like, yes, I am. I really am. I'm crazy about
being
it.
proud about
I'm
it.
crazy about it. You need to be proud of it, dude, because you'll never be the best if you're not. You think Muhammad Ali wasn't insane about training and just being the best every day and being disciplined, right? Same thing with Floyd.
Yeah.
Right, Mike Tyson. Bro, he gets
All the
into a
boys.
zone,
All the
scary
boys.
zone. Yeah.
Frankie D.
Frankie D.
Frankie
Got
D.
a quick side story. We're all sitting there. Frankie had to go do something, and he was a little bit later to work than normal. And me, Appio, and Grizz are sitting there, and all you hear is, bam, 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 bam. Let's go. And we look outside. Frankie's in his car with his head out the window, honking, screaming, "Let's effing go!" in the middle of the parking lot while there's
It's like
other
9:30.
companies working. And what do? So we open the window. And we just start screaming back.
Screaming.
It
Right.
was so much
Let
fun.
him know.
I'm way better than Jordan Belford. Way better.
You heard that here first.
I'm a good guy for one, and for two, I'm just cooler.
I love how we had that
No
guy up
Quaaludes in the
here this
making of
morning.
this film.
no Quaaludes.
I love how we
Quaaludes.
had the
No Steve
guy who we
Madden.
always see in the morning downstairs.
Oh my
'Cause
God!
he hears
yeah.
us say, "Let's
He's watching this. He's definitely watching
Wait, who?
this.
I hope
so.
Yeah, he's definitely watching. Yeah,
that,
so
that was really
energy.
nice that you invited
Yeah.
him up here. I wish I realized it was him right away. I kind
Yeah,
of
we should have him on the
in.
podcast.
we should one of these days. We should one of these days.
Just
So
a big supporter.
And what does he? What does
let's
he
give a
do?
backstory. So
Yeah.
this guy, every single day when we walk into work, there's this guy who works for a company downstairs. He's a temp there, and he loves just watching us walk into work every day. We're always screaming walking in. Like, he's like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "I'm amazing," and he's like, "Wow!" Like, just really happy and excited. And then I decided to invite him upstairs today because he's been hanging and watching us for like a month or two now. So invited him up, and he just loved every second of it. He liked The Office a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's
Yeah.
just sitting there. He's just,
Making,
hey.
Yeah.
keep making people curious. They're like, yo, these guys know something. I
Yeah.
know they want
Why
part
are they
of it.
happy at 8:30 in the morning?
Yeah, why are you
Yeah,
screaming at the
literally.
crack of dawn?
He said we're gonna have 1,000 employees soon.
That's what
Fortune
he said.
5.
That's what he
baby.
said.
I just saw him up here.
He's
looking
on
at
my
the Christmas
wavelength.
tree. I
Yeah.
came in. I'm just off of my food poisoning from yesterday. I'm just like, who the hell is this guy? Go sit down at my desk.
He's just looking at our Christmas tree.
Let her.
Whatever.
Yesterday, never mind.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Not
worth
having
it.
a good
It's
time.
not worth
So
it.
Phil,
Let's move
Yeah.
on.
who's like some of your favorite fighters, and like, are they like the ones who inspired you? Like, I love Khabib.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
awesome, especially his grappling and whatnot. But like, who's like,
Growing up, Forrest Griffin, Rampage Jackson. That's
So
my
even
favorite fighter.
Anderson
before I even
Silva.
get into, I guess, some specific certain fighters, I feel like any great fighter that has accomplished, had a successful career and is, fighting at the highest level, I feel like, there's so many things you could take from what they do. And, even if they're, different weight class, different style of fighting, success leaves clues. I've been a big believer in that for years. And it's like, so guy like Khabib, like, constantly working, but he's a man of his faith. He's a family man, but a guy like that, man, he's just always focused. Like, it doesn't matter how much success. I think he retired at 30-0, whatever his final record was.
29. It was like
Was 29?
It was an upsetting number.
He retired.
Yeah, he dropped.
Wow.
Which actually is a testament to focus, too. He wasn't hungry for that 30. He was just like, 29, I'm good.
Well, no, his dad passed away, and he wasn't doing it without his dad. That was like his last fight because his dad couldn't beat
that's
his
nice.
And he had a
corner,
lot
so
of
he
money
retired.
offered to him, too.
Yeah,
And,
wow,
he
turned
passed
all
it up.
down. Yeah.
Wow.
But as far as, fighters, George St. Pierre, I know he's a little more older school, and, he was
GSP.
he
Easily
was
one
a
of the
heavier
best.
weight class,
remember
but, I
GSP.
knew just the way he carried himself, worked super hard. And there's some similar backgrounds. I think, there was a point in his life where, he might have been bullied a little bit. And, like, earlier on, like, even though I never did anything, but remember, like, even if, people mess with you or whatever, I was told kind of at home, just don't go picking trouble. Don't get yourself into, into fights for no reason. And, I feel like that's one of the many reasons why I wanted to fight and do martial arts. To help kids like develop confidence for themselves and know how to defend themselves and feel more comfortable. But then at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's always felt like it's been something I had to do for myself in my life.
Yeah.
But I love George St. Pierre. Some flyweight, Demetrius Johnson. He's a little older school. He's my weight class. He's still going at it in one championship. But yeah, man, there's a lot of good guys. Just I go on and on. Charles Oliveira now, he's still fighting. I love how he blends his jiu-jitsu with his striking. So all these guys, I'm like, try to just take little things from how their fights, things they've used in their training camps, how they prepare, and just slowly just want to take notes and try to implement it into my game. Yeah. I know I tell myself too sometimes, I know you guys, we all want to be successful so bad, and which is so awesome. But I know sometimes I'll tell myself rather, it's like, I want to make a lot of changes, but sometimes you can't make all these changes at the same time. So it's about planning how you're going to implement it, and then really coming up with a plan that will allow you to add that to your routine. So, yeah,
road mapping is huge, especially
yeah.
And then you cut it in half.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then even if however that result is, then you could always add to it. You're more experienced and from that situation, and you just put yourself and you redo it again. So it's about so.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where you got hit and you were just like
Definitely sometimes in
damn.
sparring. Yeah, definitely sometimes in sparring. Even that's sparring, I feel like, it's such an important part, in fighting and stuff, just putting yourself in these positions. And, something even too, I want to, add to my routine, get a couple different looks from some different guys, how often, when I'm in camp, when I'm not in camp. But yeah, there's definitely been some times in sparring where, I put myself in some positions, but sometimes, you gotta eat a shot to give a shot. But that's part of the game. I try to be as smart as I can going into like, fights and stuff about, being selective with, how often you spar and like, the amount of times who you're going with and stuff, because it is, I guess, in a way, a longevity game. I love what I do and who I do it with, so I want to be able to do it as long as I can. But yeah, there's a huge aspect with the sparring. But yeah, definitely.
We should spar.
I love the slipper.
We should spar.
It's an important part of martial arts. It's an important part of martial arts. Test
Frankie, your
everything
slippers
you
keep
can
making
walk.
eye contact
office
with me.
sparring. You like them?
I love them.
Yeah, they're
We're not
pretty
going to talk
cool.
about
Yo,
those
shout
yet.
out to
They're
Slip- shout out to
previews.
Slip-
Yeah, thank you. Shout out to
Office
Slippers.
sparring.
We're gonna
Oh, the little Easter egg.
we're gonna keep them low key.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Lexington
low-key.
low key.
Yeah.
You guys could guess where these slippers are from.
Ooh.
They're a publicly traded company. That's the only hint I'll give you.
We turn them sideways for him.
Publicly traded
No.
company.
No,
Not
that's
yet.
too
Not
much.
yet.
Not
Publicly
yet.
traded company, and Lexington has a very good relationship with them, to say the very least.
Yeah.
Especially our COO Frank over here.
He's one of my
Shout
good
out to
friends,
you
actually. We
guys.
talk all the time now. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're buddies.
get
like
Yeah.
this.
We
we
love
play squash
we
together.
love we love building relationships. And I think it's funny too, because Lexington, we're the farthest thing from corporate, to say the least.
farthest
Thing from corporate. But when we were talking to our buddies, they were like, hey, like, when we see a guy in the office and we think he's good, we're like, yeah, he's a dog, he's a dog, he's a dog. And it's so funny because that's what we call our boys too. We're like, when he first day, it's like, you think he's a dog? Yeah, he's a dog. Yeah, so
They're fans.
They are.
they're fans.
Love the cast.
Yeah, and they're fans.
They're gonna watch this too. Hey
Yeah, they're
guys,
gonna watch
see
it.
ya.
Hey guys,
So-
hey buddies,
Hey buddies.
what's going on? We're not gonna
dad
reveal
says
you just yet.
thanks.
So Phil, now that you're developing more in your striking, what's what disciplines have you been picking up? Just like kickboxing, maybe Muay Thai. Like
Yeah,
what's your-
more definitely kickboxing, style. One of my coaches that, he's one of the owners of my gym. His name's Ryan LaFleur. He fought in the UFC for about 10 years. At one point in his career, he was a top 10 welterweight fighter of the world. And I have so much respect for him because, even though sometimes I won't work directly with him, just some of the things he's done in his career, going on to open a gym and, helping so many athletes and on, their journeys. Yeah, his style is, they call it like a Dutch kickboxing style. Ooh. And he worked with a very world-renowned trainer named Henry Hooft, who trains a lot of big-time UFC guys now. But, I know, like, a guy like that, like, his style of striking, I'll try to take his classes as much as I can, or, watch some of his past fights. But, he's a dog.
He's a
That's
dog.
as simple as that.
He's
you
a
know,
dog.
He's yeah, man. He's a lot of so many of these my coaches and teammates. They have a wealth of knowledge, and I just try to even if they're not working with me directly, I could take whatever I can from them.
Do you do a lot of video review?
I like to, yeah. Whether it's watching fights back, I watch a lot of technique stuff and try to understand the concepts of why some things are gonna work. And but watching film just in general of old fights, even if I've seen the fight over a couple times, like that's something I really want to add into my routine because that's huge. If you could, a lot of it's like putting yourself in those shoes, like even before the fight, trying to be like, all right, what positions could I be in? What kind of dilemmas are going to be going on? What moves do I have to make? To be able to, just not be the first time you're in that position. So yeah, I try to watch as much fights as I can. Even every time I go to the flex shows, I always try to stay for every fight. Whether my teammates are done fighting or they keep fighting. Like from the first fight of the night, I try to watch till the end. As far as pro shows, the UFC cards, I always love to watch. And yeah, I love watching fights. I love martial arts, and I just want to keep learning.
Do you try and find videos of your future opponents and watch videos of them? I'm sure it's
Watch
a little
them
bit
film?
harder.
Yeah, no,
but
definitely. To a certain extent, I feel like sometimes I guess earlier on in the career, especially as an amateur, sometimes it might be a little harder to find footage of the guys you're fighting. But there's always always to some degree people posting on their social medias, or there's some footage from some of the promotions. So yeah, I mean it's always smart and I think wise to watch and know I guess like where their strengths and weaknesses are. But then also sometimes I tell myself it's like, look, I have respect for every opponent I step up to and everyone who makes the walk and fights in a cage. But then again, it's like you need to have confidence in your game plan and and what you're gonna do. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely good to watch fights and know what they're gonna be looking for and know what to expect. But then again too, it's like I guess give them the respect, but not too much respect.
Yeah, they're still your enemy. So
Yeah,
the fight's
yeah,
over,
of course.
Still the hand is raised.
Of course.
When you're developing like your training camp, like do you I guess in like the amateur level career, like as you said, there's not much footage. So like, do you just know like, okay, this guy's a jiu-jitsu boxer, so like that's how you prepare your camp, like for someone who does jiu-jitsu and boxing, or like how are like training camps like?
Yeah.
designed?
So honestly, always try to hit every aspect the best as I can in every camp. But yeah, once you find out, you get matched up. Usually you get matched up within the last month before the fight or a month and a half earliest. But yeah, in that time period you try to find out like what style fighter they are, kind of a little background of what they are, and then you start working out of some of those positions that they're gonna look for. Even just there's so many aspects in martial arts, even like just cage wrestling off the cage, like that's I feel like a whole nother art in itself.
Yeah.
So if you're going against I guess a wrestler or someone that is going to put pressure on you, you got to know how to I guess work off the fence, and that's something I always want to keep implementing. But yeah, definitely, just to get an idea of what they're going to be looking for. But yeah, and all these are, I really mean this, all these are great questions. I mean it. But
Yeah.
make you think a little bit farther. I've never thought about cage wrestling.
No,
I never thought about
never
that.
took that into
Yeah, I
account.
never thought
Wrestled
about
my
that.
But I
entire
mean, it
life
makes so
growing up.
much sense because you literally are like there's no whistle when you like hit
This
the
is
cage.
real
like,
life
you're just going
almost.
up against it.
Yeah,
it's an art, I
100%.
guess.
Closest thing
Cuts
to real
half your
life.
game off.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're on a wrestling mat. It's just an out of bounds.
that's it. Yeah,
That's it. There's no
like,
wall, no nothing.
So yeah, there's
Now I want to practice that. When are we sparring?
Let's get him in the cage.
Apple's gonna be late
Let's
for
get him in
work
the
the day
cage.
after.
The boys would,
Yeah, you guys
the boys
got
would
enough-
spar during
You
lunch.
guys have enough space up here to get cage in here.
Oh,
Yeah, we do.
Easy.
Well, there's a couple
we could
It's
have,
a
we could have
write-off.
Fight Club.
We're not
We
gonna
don't talk about
that.
that. We don't talk about
Sorry, my bad. My bad.
So, hard work, determination. I mean, that's something that goes
Yes.
into anything anyone ever does. I think a little bit more into the life of a fighter. I'm sure when you're ready to go into that ring, maybe, you get effed up in the ring. You got to be able to pick yourself back up after that. And that's something that I'm sure every fighter experiences in their life at some point.
Definitely. And even just, to go along with what you just said, my first fight, I really, leading up into, fighting and stuff, I always, I knew I wanted to fight. I made sure the people I was working with knew what I wanted to do. And honestly, one of my coaches, like, it's a pretty messed up thing to do, fighting. But no, but once they see that, they can't, talk you out of it, and you're really passionate, and there's nothing that anyone can do that's gonna stop you from doing it. Then, I feel like, not only they take you more seriously, they know that, you're really a fighter, at the blood and core. Even like you're saying, but anyway, my first kickboxing fight, which is in earlier February this year, I really mean it. I'm still taking lessons from that experience. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything, how it happened. I feel like it was one of those things that got thrown into the fire, which was the best thing for me because, there's a lot of, like I said earlier, there's a lot of moving parts. You're excited. Some people, when people say there's no nerves, there's not, because it's true. It's just, you're worried about your weight. You're worried about, how you're going to perform. Then you got some of the media, there's a lot of stuff. But, no, I had to get thrown in there because, even after weighing in, I kind of went about, making the weight for my first fight the complete wrong way. And I learned from that now. But then even after the fact of weighing in, I was so excited. I had people texting me. I wasn't focused on what I should have been focused on. And that was just one of the many things that I had to really, really work on. I ended up losing a decision that fight. And even my opponent from that fight, I'll still keep in touch with him. We're rooting for the best for each other in their careers. But that fight had to happen. Even before that fight, I'm a big believer in things happen for you, not to you. And you got to really believe that, I feel like, to really, have that close to home. But I told myself, I'm like, that had to happen how it did, so like, it could build me up and prepare me for what's to come. So
if you were to rematch with that guy, is it a W in your favor this time?
Honestly, I like to say, so just
don't be humble.
No, talk to
I like to
You're a
think
lecturer now, talk it.
Yeah.
Look, I've definitely developed, and like I said, there's a lot of moving parts. He's a kickboxer, so like now even moving to MMA, with the different martial arts and being able to utilize grappling, even in that fight, there's a couple times where people would say, yeah, it looks like you were going for a takedown, and obviously you can't grapple in a kickboxing fight. You don't have the open-handed gloves, and but yeah, of course, I say I want to stay humble, but I think if I really did the things I should have done, I would have got the win.
Yeah.
But there's no saying, oh, should have, could have, would have. Like, I move on. Like, you're always, people always worried about your last fight. I had a chip on my shoulder from that, even from guys I trained with. I was disappointed, not only in myself, I knew other people, expecting more of me. But, that's what it's about. There's, there'll be, it's a roller coaster, this journey. So I'm like, I need to, take everything I can from all these fights, use it to make me a better martial artist, a better person. And yeah, I really mean it. I wouldn't, change anything how it is. Because at the end of the day, the amateurs, whether it's amateur kickboxing, amateur MMA, when the time comes, whenever that is, to take the step to the next level, it all resets. Yeah. So
Frankie talks a lot about chips on his shoulder. That's like one of the
You
biggest
need
things
it.
that
You
drives
need it.
him.
Find something that just gets you going, man. Something, anything. It could be so messed up, whatever it's got to be, and just think about it, and think about it, and think about it, and think about it. Some people let things like get to them, and like it ruins their lives. Like I let shit get to me and then like motivate me. And I think that's what a lot of like the most successful people honestly really do.
Oh yeah. We talked about it a little bit at dinner the other night, but it's really
Where did we go to dinner, by the way? Where did we take you out to?
The Lex boys took me out to Insignia. We were eating good. We had good drinks.
Yeah, spent a lot of money.
Most ridiculous dessert.
Dollars.
We had a great time.
Beautiful
and,
night.
I'm thankful for them taking me out. It was a great time, great experiences. We caught some content there, but me and Frankie were talking about it for a little bit there about there's a lot of people you'll encounter in your lives, and some people like they're always looking for, how the ways they can make things happen, looking at, and then there's other people on the other hand that, are always looking at the negative, like, why things can't work, why you can't do that or have that. And, I know it's sometimes those people could be, your family, some people that are close by to you, but, and, it's hard to completely shut them out, but, it's not only, about having that abundance mindset, like, it's like all those opportunities and saying yes, like there's abundance in this world. I feel like you could have everything you want and more, and those people that talk down to whatever you want to achieve and whatever you're set out to accomplish, they could live their life how they want to do, but they're not going to stop you from getting after yours. 100%. So and like we were talking about with the chip on the shoulders, those people, like I'm no one to, like, I don't judge anyone, like I respect everyone that makes an honest living, does their thing. But it's like at the same time, it's like don't project that onto other people. So I use that as a chip on my shoulder, and I'm a big believer also on you forgive but you don't forget. Like you remember how those people treated you, what they said about you, and just use it as fuel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that. So now, Phil, I have a karate background.
Yeah.
And tonight's segment, you and I are going to
You get
fight
bullied
each other.
growing up.
No, but,
And now,
Introduce.
would you ever consider like karate, kung fu, something like that, like adding that to like your repertoire? I know like some of the UFC guys, like they'll have like a little bit of that like in their background, just like
Yeah,
as another
definitely.
discipline. Like, does that pique your interest?
So definitely, I feel like any martial arts or any different type of techniques and stuff, I'm always open to learning to add into my game. I feel like just having that style of something that some throwing things at people that they're not necessarily expecting.
Yeah.
As far as karate and stuff, I don't know if there's necessarily like karate gyms or that around. And all the guys at my gym, like everyone has different backgrounds and different fighting styles. So if I'm trying to get a different look with someone, I know, all right, I could go to this guy for more of a Muay Thai look, this guy from more of a wrestling look, or more of a karate look, like you said. But I have respect for every person that trains martial arts, that is just looking to learn and, try new things. And, yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah, like I said, the striking is something I really want to work on and show. But, that's why I like to put myself sometimes and train with guys, try to pick their minds about, how they're thinking, when they strike, what they're looking for, how they train, how they prepare themselves. But, yeah, no, definitely.
I like it.
I got a taekwondo background. How those kicks look?
I'm sure.
I do.
Dude, Tom will just whip out some crazy kicks.
Tom,
on a
I've seen
punching
Tom
bag
do the
sometimes.
crane.
I did hit a nasty like a tornado kick on the
oh my
punching bag when we
God.
first
Yeah, that
moved
was
in here.
nice.
Our office, you saw that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't sit in like a gaping space, He just crazy kick. Just
Yeah.
I'm
lands
chubby
over
now. I
everybody.
can still do it.
Just like that.
Boom. Here comes the boom. Ready
Ready
now.
That's a good point too.
What?
What are your favorite fighting movies? Because Here Comes the Boom was with Kevin James. That was a fun one.
So I love Creed. I know Rocky's, the classic, of
Come on,
course.
man.
That
Yeah, Rocky.
Come
We
on,
just
man.
sung it, man.
Southpaw.
Oh, that's a
I
sad
love that
movie.
movie. What was the other one? I think it wasn't really like that much
Fighter.
fighting.
The Fighter.
That
The Fighter was up with Christian Bale and
Never
Yes,
Back
yes,
Down. I think that
yes.
was like
And
an
Mark
old
Wahlberg.
school one. That
Never
was
Back
kinda
Down
like,
was
What's the
fun.
one with Hardy?
I was gonna say, wasn't Tom Hardy in one?
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy.
The
Yeah.
bald guy, right? He was like a bald guy.
Tom Hardy's
Just
actually a
watched it not
real
too
life
long ago.
fighter. He's a great fighter.
Really?
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
It's one of
He's a
my
wrestler
favorite
actually.
Yeah,
actors.
he is. Remy,
Yeah.
pull up. What movie was Tom Hardy in?
Come on, Remy.
Yeah, what the heck?
You should have already been on this.
We got to really start doing that.
Remy's
more.
quick. Remy's quick with it.
Remy's
Remy
already
is quick
typing.
with it.
Fingers are going
Remy's
crazy.
good.
Got to get him an old separate laptop just for doing
Yeah,
a
so-
couple extra things.
What, Warrior?
Warrior. Yeah, I literally just watched that like a month ago. It was such a
Wow.
good movie.
Southpaw's a sad movie, man.
Yeah, Southpaw
It
is
is.
sad.
It
It's just, shout out to Jake
Sad and
Gyllenhaal.
motivating, all in one.
Jake Gyllenhaal would play Phil.
Oh my God. That
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
that'd be a good
Yeah, look at
film.
it.
That'd be a good film. We always talk about like who would play us.
You're
It's like
our
an
Steve
action
Madden.
movie. Yeah,
Hey, because that's what it is.
You
There
are
will be a
Steve
movie about these boys.
there really will be, and
And-
you're gonna be on that shit.
Yeah.
You are going to be on that.
I would love to be. I'd love to be
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be part of you guys.
What I tell you when I first met you?
What?
We're gonna grow together.
We're gonna grow together, and
We're
that's
gonna
what it's
grow
all
together.
about.
Yes, sir.
We push each other, we grow together, and I love that. I love everything about that, and even everything you guys stand for. Like, not only you guys making people happy and changing their lives, it really is like a ripple effect. You're helping people better. The things they're trying to pursue and what they're going after. But you give people opportunities. Better their life, and that's awesome.
Yeah, some people are
Something no one can
propellers,
take
some
from
people
you.
are projectors.
Yeah. Well, we really care about everybody, not just in our lives in general, families, friends, but just everybody in this office. As you know,
Love that.
one big giant family. We're set out to change your life first, and then make you a good salesman second.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what's going to develop you into a good
Yeah.
salesman. Is make you a good person first. Do the right thing every day. Abide by the rules, right? Work your very hardest. Give life your all, and like you said a little earlier, life is very rewarding. I've never seen a guy with a six-pack not work out every day for that six-pack, right? I've never
Yep.
seen a millionaire not work every single day to be a millionaire, right? Life's very giving, life's very rewarding, and there's a bunch of gifts just laying around, and you could go and you could grab them, and they're laying there for people who are going to go and get them,
Yeah.
but they're not going to give them to people who have bad mentalities, like the why me people that we all know
You
about.
get Cole.
Life's all about mentality. Fighting is all about mentality. Sales is all about mentality.
Spot on.
Cole.
You got a mountain to climb. There's presents
In the
there.
middle of
Coal's
some
at the bottom.
meetings,
The coal's at the bottom.
Coal's at the
And
bottom.
the problem is a lot of people don't want to climb the mountain because the problem is they don't know what's at the top of that mountain. But what if you did? What if you could just picture it in your head every single day? Because that's what I do. I just picture what's just at the top of that mountain. I can't see it. I have no idea what's in store for me in life. To other people, like, you guys know how many businesses I've opened up and failed throughout the life of my time. The average person would say that's a waste of time, that's a waste of money, this, that, the third. But I've looked at all that stepping stones up my Mount Everest in order to get to Lexington, and then now Lexington eventually is going to be a publicly traded company because of all the trials and tribulations that I've had to go through just in order to get here in life. So really picture what's at the top of that mountain and really think about every single day before you go to sleep and when you wake up and look in the mirror, like, is that worth doing this every single day? And if you care about yourself, you care about the people who love you and people that you love, you're going to do it.
And now look around, you got a cavalry.
It's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, we got a squad
we
to
got
say the
Phil.
least. And we got Phil.
And we got
Phil
Phil.
kicked some asses for us.
We got some loyal soldiers over here at Lexington, to say the least. But I think that's just a testament of just the culture that we've instilled and just the family camaraderie that we've built. We're a family, bottom line. I love every single one of you Phil.
I love you too.
Thanks for
brother.
coming on the show.
Thank
Thank
you
you
guys
so
for
much.
Thanks for
having
coming
me.
on the
Before
show.
we
Yeah.
wrap up, Tom mentioned something about heart, will, and determination before, and I just wanted to touch on it a little bit farther because I know that we're ending up soon. I just remember growing up, my wrestling coaches used to always put your mentality and your mental over everything, and my father would instill it into me too. Your body can reach unimaginable limits if your mind can take you there, and I feel like that's such a good reason on why we love you so freaking much.
I love you
because
guys too.
You're a fighter, and you have that heart, you have that determination, you have that mentality that you can get through anything. You can run through every brick freaking wall in your way and come out on top with that same mentality, no matter how battered and bruised up you are.
Yeah.
You would have made a great Lexington, Phil.
I totally agree with that, what Abio just said, and even it goes along with what Frankie was just saying, but I'm a big believer in, you gotta earn the right to be in the position you're in, and you gotta really work yourself up to that point, and that's what it's about. Even you guys, everyone could accomplish so much, but then it's like, that mentality, that you had when you're at the bottom of the mountain, as we were just saying, like, once you get to the top, you want more. Those experiences and those trials and tribulations, they made you who you were.
Yeah.
And I guess those things that make you that person is like, sometimes more rewarding than, some of the extra stuff that comes with it. Because, I'm sure you guys all heard this too. Like, you could become a self-made millionaire, multi-millionaire, you could lose it all, but, you have all that wisdom, you've been through it all, you've done it once, you could do it again.
It's that much easier to get
you
it
could do
back.
it again.
It's true.
Can you believe me and this kid used to ride bikes in 6th grade? Now we're sitting on a podcast.
Yeah. I used to have like the long skater hair. You guys want to
I was wearing the DCs.
I always knew of you.
I know.
But we never talked or anything like that. He went to opposite high schools of us. He went to Center.
He went to the
High
op school.
We played
So,
basketball, baseball
yeah,
together,
basketball,
but
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it's about. I love it that it's one of those almost like full circle moments. Like even me and Tom also worked at Cheesecake, where I'm still getting after it now because it helps my fighting career. But even without me reconnecting with him there, I don't know if we'd be having this podcast right now.
That was funny the day you came in. I was like the Spider-Man meme. We just pointed at each other. We're like, what's good?
It's Phil. Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
Uncle
And that's
Phil.
another cool thing. One thing I always say that, anything in the universe is possible except a coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't
Everything
believe in
happens for a
coincidences.
reason. The way it's supposed to. And also, at times I've been like, I want things to happen on my time, but I know it's not necessarily, not only on my time, things happen on God's time and, at a higher, but, there's things even that guy I was talking to, the microphone after the fight, a couple of summers ago, I was working at a side job, doing like wedding planning and stuff, and I was doing like the photography, photo booths, and he was at the wedding. I remember telling him I knew who he was, and I said, I'm gonna see you soon enough. And, next thing you know, it manifested. I was being interviewed. I had all the people closest to me in my life at the event. It meant a lot. It only drives me even more. And, yeah, some things might not happen as quick as you want or when they want, but if you could really see it happening and you work towards it diligently and persistently, you make it has to happen.
You make it happen when it's supposed to.
Exactly.
Those
You make it undeniable. You make it
Keep on running through
undeniable.
those brick walls.
Remove the doubt.
This is the greatest country in the world.
Amen to
Greatest
that.
country in the world. Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
say,
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glares, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Let's go!
That's our 8:30 in the morning.
God bless, bro. Thanks for coming down the show. Thanks for coming down the show.
Yeah, that's how we start every morning, by the way.
Great
I love that.
Greatest country in the world. Greatest country in the world. Greatest company in the world. And the greatest fighter in the world. Sitting right here in front of you. Give it up. Give it up.
Love my boys. Thank you.
Wait, before we
Thank
end,
you.
anything you want to plug?
Oh yeah.
Anything you want to advertise?
Yeah,
All right, I got it. Real quick. You know, of course, shout out to my Lexington boys. You know, making themselves known when they were at the venue. You know, shout out to them, everything they're doing. Shout out to my coaches at Long Island MMA. I'm wearing this shirt, Movement. This is my coach's brand. You know, I threw this on before I left. Shout out to my boy Carl and his brand. You know, he was doing all my printing and stuff to help me get, you know, my sponsors and all the things I've been working on out to the world. And I've been working on a project. You know, some people don't even know what it is. It's called Fulfill, but you know, it's really about inspiring people to, you know, chase after all the things that they want to pursue in life and accomplish. So
I like that a lot.
fulfill. You know.
I feel fulfilled. I feel fulfilled.
That makes me feel fulfilled. So, chasing that feeling of fulfillment, and that's what it's all
Did you
about.
think of that just now? Or did you
chasing
think
that
of it? The
dream.
I
fulfill?
aspire to inspire.
Keep
The
chasing that
fulfill?
dream. Keep
Do you think
chasing
about
dream.
that? Or is that just
Put the
coincidence?
fists up,
that's-
boys. Put the fists up, boys.
Is that coincidence?
That's been something, you know, for years now I've been working on. There's a lot of things, you know, I can't wait to
That's
show the
awesome.
world, but, you know, on God's time.
All the
I'll be
other
able to bring that.
CEOs, get ready. Back
Yeah,
up. Back
oh,
up.
You ain't want
Back
this.
up. I got Phil
You can't
saying
take it in the
back up,
broken
back
battle.
up. Back up. Broken battle coming
We
your
got
way.
nothing.
Ain't
C12
got nothing.
taking it.
Corey's taking it home.
Sit down.
Corey's taking it home. Sit down. Sit down. You hear that, Corey? You're taking it home.
Right.